Okay, so welcome back to the channel. It is week 9 of 12 on the London Marathon build-up. It's a different scene. So I'm not on a run. I decided this week was going to be a Q&A. I started on a Tuesday because Monday is my rest day. Tuesday was morning 13k, and then in the evening it was 17k with the club. On Wednesday morning, I had an alteration. In the morning, I did an out and back 12k, and in the evening, when track was meant to be, we had a club curry night. So we went all the way over to Kenilworth, went to a cheeky Sunam, had a lovely family naan. Me and Harry shared it all to ourselves, and then I ran that off on the Thursday morning, where I did a 13k easy run, and in the evening, I did an 18k easy run, just to run off the family naan. On Friday, we did a Friday speed session with Harry. We met here and we did a run into Stratford. We did a warm-up and then we proceeded to do 3 lots of 4k at 3:45, and we had 1k float in between. We did basically that pace perfectly. In the lead up to the Savage Sunday session, on Saturday, I ran down to parkrun with Hayley and we did an easy park run and then ran home, so that was roughly about 10k. And then on the Sunday, well, for the Sunday, I'll let Ryan tell you all about that. Over to him.
Thanks, Ryan. So today we are at Draycote Water, as always, Harry and Luke. We will be doing 3k warm-up, 26k at 3:45s, 3k cool down. Let's see how we get on. I'll give you the aftermath of the run now. Okay, so we've just done the 26k. You will see from my Ks, I was in the pain cave big time. Harry left me in his little Alpha Fly Freeze. He kind of died-ish a little. But how many gels do you have, Harry? That's what everyone wants to know on the channel.
I had, again this time, I had four gels. I did take 5, but we found out from Luke that the talk ones actually have a bit more carbs in them. Wow. So actually, in a way, if I'm having 4 and 32k, I reckon for the marathon, 5 or 6 should be able to be
more,
done.
Harry. More.
Potentially more, but it's a good sign.
7 or 8.
It's good sign.
Did you feel like you're going to throw up?
On the third one, I'm going to say a little bit yes. And I'm going to say the reason why that was because the pace that we were going, there was no way to slow down while having the gels. So while we were doing 3:45, I had to still take it. And while my body was working really, really hard, but I managed to stay it down. And then I just used the sip approach later on. So, I think they definitely did help during the
main takeaway, I don't know when this video will go out, but we're not going to do the session here next week. The flies are in full force right now.
They're disgusting.
Literally every lap by the reservoir, there was just a whole cloud of midgies, and then Harry was just swallowing every single
just for
one
fun.
of them.
I had to I nearly choked on.
He basically had to do that, he had to hold his breath and shut his eyes. So it wasn't the best. I'd say if you're training for a marathon, and I get this video up relatively soon, avoid Draycote or go hella early, because at the first lap it was okay. The warmer it got, the more flies appeared, so we had to adapt near the end.
Way too many. It was not.
But yeah, that was tough. We need to do 2.2k, and then we're going to watch Adam in the Brighton Marathon. So good luck, Adam.
Let's go, Adam.
I will also put his time here, so hopefully it's a nice time that he wants me to share with everyone. But yeah, back to Ryan in the living room.
Thanks, Ryan. So this part of the video, I don't really know what to call this apart from just Q&A with Ryan. So the first question is from Harry Purewell. So he asked me in person, what is my favourite race of the year so far? And I don't have to have PB'd at it, it's just the vibes and the course. So I have spent a little bit of time thinking about this, and it was weighing up between Gloucester and Podium 5k, but it's gonna have to be Podium 5k in this instance because it was just absolutely incredible. Yeah, simple as that. Podium 5k gets it for me. The next question is from Carl the Amateur Runner, And he asks, how many miles and long runs do you do in your marathon race day shoe before the actual race? Before the Brighton Marathon, which I got my Alpha Fly 2s for, I think I did 1/2 marathon in them. I actually do a session in them just to wear them in a little bit so they aren't as rigid and rub your feet. He also asks, faster runners seem to do a lot more mileage in marathon training compared to most. Is this something you have to do if you want to be quicker over the marathon distance? With that question, to be honest, I have no clue what the actual answer is, but I go off the main principle of if you want to get better at something, you just got to do more of it. So I'm just copying everyone else who's doing crazy times, and they seem to be absolutely smashing out the miles left, right and centre. The 2 running brooms sent in this question. Am I gonna wear the GoPro on my head for London Marathon? The answer is a nice short and sweet answer. Definitely yes. So it's definitely a major factor in me doing it. We didn't actually have the GoPro before when I did London Marathon last time. So I'm gonna make sure to get all of the action as well as the expo on my head. Mark G99. How long have I been into running? So I basically got into running at the end, I think, of 2014, just for a ski trip, and I watched my mum do a wolf run. That point on, I entered a local 10k race, which is 2 Castles, which some of you may know. Whilst training for that, I joined Kenneth Runners, and I've been with them ever since. He also asks, why do you think it's difficult for some runners to stick to regular strength and conditioning? I'm probably a prime example of that. I don't really like doing it. I think the main problem is I would say I don't have the time, but you can easily make the time. I think the problem is actually sticking to it and actually trying to do it. I feel like when it's not in a routine, it's very hard to add something in unless you manage to stick to it for at least 21 days. I think I'm definitely going to focus on that on my 5k plan for next. I think I'm starting that in June, so that'll be quite interesting. I'm actually going to try a lot harder than this marathon at least. It hasn't really gone to plan, the odd session here and there. I guess the main problem is if you like running, you're just going to run. If you like strength and conditioning, we'd be in the gym. So I'm not really a gym rat, so I just do all my running, that's it, mainly. He also asked, do I write my own training plans, and if so, how do you decide on the volume of training? So for Brighton Marathon, I did make my own training plan. I basically just go online, Google, just see what other people are doing for their sessions that are around my kind of time, and then implement them into my sessions as well. I guess you slowly build up your mileage, and then off whatever mileage you're on, adapt the training plan to that. If I've done a training plan at this mileage, the next training plan, I want to try and add about 20k onto that each week, just to make myself better than the last time and give me more chance to actually progress. It might not be the best words of advice. You might want to have more beneficial sessions rather than increasing the volume, but I don't know, I just like the stats, so I go for the weekly massive miles and to just get on the top of the running the red line. So if I get on that podium each week, I'm doing a good job. But yeah, now I have started using, as well as Mark himself, I have started using ChatGPT. It is weirdly quite good for sessions. I wouldn't solely rely on it, but it does help you with predicting and creating your plans from scratch if you haven't got one already. So next running adventures, he mentions he gets toilet anxiety. That's why he doesn't enter that many races. Do I have a morning routine that I have adapted, or does it not affect me? The morning of a race, wake up early, get my beetroot in, I get my porridge. I don't have a big bowl of porridge, just a small bowl of porridge, and then I have a cheeky mix of coffee tea, which I like to call toffee, and that's just tea and a coffee in 1 cup. That is it, just to get the caffeine hit, and yeah, it does the job. Just make sure you go before the race and you should be fine. I've never actually been mid-race, so I don't actually know. I think it's partially to do with diet. I think it depends on the amount you drink as well. At the end of the day, you can always do a mom, hop over a fence and just squat down in a field. Okay, the next question is from Poet with Pace. Why so much hype about bicarbonate of soda, and does it have any benefits for racing a marathon? So bicarb is quite a big talking point at the moment. It is very expensive for what it's worth. It's about 18 to 16 pounds a go. A lot of influencers are getting on it. There is also Jack Gray's company bicarb that everyone is getting onto. I think the main problem is, well, there's not a problem with it. As soon as one quick person gets on it, everyone else runs at them like sheep and just copies what the fast people are doing, really. So when you're running along, the bicarb will neutralise the lactic, and then you can just carry on for longer. I know quite a lot of people, Fod Runner and Connor Rogers, have it quite a lot. I've never personally had it, so I don't know how much of effect it would have, but I think for a marathon it would probably definitely have an effect, like the 5k and 10k. If anything, it might have a better effect, but I don't know how long it actually lasts you for. I might have to try it at some point. The regular runner asks, how much more food than normal am I having to consume coping with the mega mileage, and have I had a change of diet to be able to cope with that? Basically, Hayley would vouch for me. I basically don't have a diet, I just eat whatever I can see in front of me. I am quite bad, I have lots of biscuits. I'm normally quite bad for takeaways. We don't actually have them that much, but I easily go for a Domino's and demolish the entire pizza. I probably still need to be eating more, and I think since the marathon block I've probably noticed I need to have more protein shakes. I do have a lot of chicken in my lunch. I don't really have any red meat, it's just the white one. Just eating a lot. I don't really think about it. I could probably improve my diet quite a lot, but there's quite a lot of processed food in there still. So, but yeah, if you do a lot of mileage, just it doesn't really matter about your diet too much. Just eat it. Just keep eating, especially within half an hour of your run. If you've done a hard workout, just go for it and go for carnage in the fridge. NRG Runs mentions a question. He says, what's your race day nutrition plan for the marathon? So on London Marathon, I think I'm gonna take about 8 gels with me, and then I'm gonna have them. I normally have one at 5 or 10 minutes before the start. As well, I'll probably have a Lucozade sports drink just to sip on beforehand, and then every 20 minutes into the race I'll take another gel, and then whenever I get to a Lucozade Sport gel station or a drink station, I'll just have it on top of that. So in the end I'll probably end up having about 10 gels. So you definitely have to train your stomach to have that many gels. I know Harry isn't very good, but if you can't get the fuel on board, anyone's just gonna crash. They are only the basic high five ones. I don't really like spending money on the gels, but high five ones taste good and they're cheap, so I'd happily just have a high five one. I think there's about 20-25 grams of carbs in, so with me having about 3 an hour, roughly about 75 grams of carbs an hour, so it's not too bad. But yeah, nice question. Moving on to the Instagram. So Connor Rogers asked quite a few questions. He asked, what shoes will I be wearing and why? I'll be wearing the Nike Alpha Fly 2s. Basically, I've worn them in my last marathon. I wear them for any races over 10 miles. They are really, really nice springy shoes. They've got the nice AirPod, which I think is a lot better than just having the carbon plate on its own. They've only got about 200k in, and I don't have the money to buy an upgrade, so I'm sticking with the 2s. Hopefully, they are the best shoe for me. I know last time I did London, I had the Next Percent 2s on, and my shoes robbed about 10k in, so I'm hoping this time I go away blood free. Connor Rogers also asks, what's my bucket list 10k, half marathon and full marathon? So for the marathon, I would say me and Hayley really want to do Berlin Marathon, so for 2026 we're going to try and get into that, fingers crossed. For the half marathon, I'm going to probably have to say the Great North Run. It looks really good, it's just very, very far away, and it's the biggest race in the UK. There's about 60,000 people doing that one, so that is a crazy amount of people to be running with. But yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe I will do it. And for the 10k, Connor Rogers has done this race recently as well as Fod Runner, and I think it's called the Polford 10k, so that would be a very, very cool race to do. It's basically Telford on steroids, and I think that would very easily get me a 10k PB. He also asks, one race I would recommend to anyone. I would say it's got to be a recent race which I have done. It's either Gloucester Half Marathon, which was absolutely incredible, or the 9 Lock Challenge, because that was a very, very unique event, and the goodie bag at the end was probably the best goodie bag I've ever had in a race ever. Next question. Simon Wallace asks, my race strategy, negative split or banking time in London Marathon. So this will be my 4th marathon, so hopefully I don't jump the gun and get excited at the start. The problem with the marathon is basically it's an easy run until about 10 miles in, and then you're basically just surviving. So you basically go through half marathon feeling like on top of the world, it's easy as hell, and the amount of people that go out too quick is quite ridiculous. I'm basically going to go off at 3:45s and try and hold that pace throughout the entire distance. If at 35k I'm feeling fresh, maybe I'll even try and pick it up from 3:45s, but I'm not going to risk it anywhere near the first 30k. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to get in a group, get in the middle of that group, and let them do the work for me. Normally it tends to be a positive split. In my last few marathons I tend to do a decent first half, and then the second half I kind of fade, but that's a natural thing for the marathon. Very, very long way to go. Mac Ashworth, when the demons come at 18 plus miles, how do I deal with them? Do I have any mantras? So what I do like thinking about when I'm near the end of a race and I feel like pure death, I just think to myself, it's quite a funny joke I have with Harry, but I just shout at him, do it for the kudos, and that's basically for the likes on Strava. So just think about everyone looking at your run on Strava and just pelt it as much as you can and just maintain the pace you're going, just keep at it, because you know when you get to the end it's going on Strava, and if it didn't go on Strava it didn't happen. So I've even made with Hayley a big marathon sign that I like holding up in front of everyone just to spur them on. I do get quite a lot of good reactions from it. I'm trying to think of in the final stages of a long race, of a marathon, every time apart from the first one was an absolute disaster and I was walking for the last 6 miles. You basically just want to finish it at that point. All times go out the window. In the second 2 they went well. I seemed to pick it up in the last 10k for both of my marathons near the end of that, and I just basically, instead of thinking about it, I just zone out, listen to the crowd, and let the crowd cheering you on push you towards the end, and when you know you can see the finish, you'll just do what it takes. And the final question of today's Q&A, it was from Jack Thompson, and he asks, what is my favourite Fortnite skin? As you would see, quite a lot of big runners are in the Fortnite game, so Alex Yee is up there as one of the fan favourites. I would say my favourite Fortnite skin has got to be Peely. Peely is my OG. You can't beat Peely. And that banana concludes the lovely week. I managed to do 135.5k of running, so there it is in its glory. It's a hefty amount of miles. I am 3 weeks out at the moment, so it's going very, very well. I'm praying that I don't get injured, but I've got 1 more week of all up mileage, and then just a taper after that. So there'll be 2 more episodes of London Marathon Block from me. Hopefully some of those questions answered any of your thoughts, but it was quite good to do a Q&A. I've never really done one, so that was the first Q&A we have ever done on the channel. Best of luck to anyone doing marathons in the next month or so. We will see you on week 10 for the last long run. From Ryan's video earlier of Draycote, we will not be there next week because of the Midgie problem. So I'm gonna have to try and find a route. I'm gonna have to plan that now. So I'll see you later.
On to our next adventure.